Good morning, good morning. It's Carol Chamberlain in for Leza live on the news 103.5 KYCA. So happy to be here. How are you doing, Matt?
Word up, dog. What? I'm just trying to bring in the gin and juice, a little Snoop in here.
Well, I've got to. I'm going to talk to you about that in one
Yeah?
second. But first,
Oh, I want to know now.
how about you, Drew?
Doing fantastic today. Little cold this morning, but that's okay.
It is a little cold this morning, and it was nearly warm yesterday. Well, actually, I think it got up to 80, didn't it?
Actually 83.
Wow. I thought it
Yeah.
felt really, really warm. But Ken and I took Maxwell out for a run on the golf course yesterday at maybe 5:30. No longer 83.
Yes, it's amazing.
It's so quick when it happens.
You know, the sunsets are getting, sooner. I mean, I think we're down to like 5:40 now.
Wow.
So I'd have to, don't hold me to that, people. I'll get the exact minute if you need it. But basically, it's getting darker earlier.
And getting light later.
Yeah.
I tell you, I was having a cup of coffee looking outside. It was dark still at 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Well,
So summer's over, so what's the day gonna look like?
Well, we're going to have another beautiful day, and it's going to be in the low 80s. So 82 is our high for today. Our low will be 43. That's 43 at the airport, folks, not at your house. At my house this morning, it was 34 at 4:30 in the morning when I got my truck.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, it was a little brisk this morning.
Two degrees from ice.
Yeah, but you know what? It was absolutely the crystal clear. Just another wonderful day in the Central Highlands,
It truly is. We are blessed to live here. I can say that again.
Oh, yeah. Today it'll be sunny. We'll have some light winds. Tonight will be mostly clear. We'll have, light winds again, 15 to 20 miles an hour. Thursday, mostly sunny. We'll have winds in 15 miles an hour. And then Thursday, Friday, it's going to start cooling down again. So we get back to our normal temperatures, which is that 70s range.
Well, I've got to tell you, every single day this week is a perfect one to be playing golf, it sounds like to me.
When you have days like this, it's a perfect day to do whatever you enjoy. Whether it's hiking, biking, having the top down, golfing, going to a mosh pit. That's for you, man.
Now you're speaking my language.
But aren't mosh pits usually indoors?
No, there's concerts that happen outside, yeah.
Oh.
I've been to actually more outside than inside this year.
So have you ever been tossed around in a mosh pit?
I mean, I've been hit and stuff, but no one's ever picked me up and tossed me.
That usually costs extra.
That's usually how I kill the children.
I was actually wondering what the outcome of that would be, both for the tossers and the ones around you.
No, I'm usually a tosser, yeah.
Versus the tossee?
Yeah, versus a tossee, yeah. And one of the other downsides of being 6'4" is that as the people come over crowd surfing, they tend to hit you in the head with their feet.
Never really thought of it like that.
I'm a lot taller than everyone that's holding them up.
So I'm just not a mosh pit baby.
It's okay.
So what's the beauty of a mosh pit?
It's fun.
How did it start? Do you have any idea?
Probably back in the day during punk, I think is probably when it mostly started, because that was when everybody got kind of wild and would fight and slam into each other, and I think it just evolved from there. So late 70s.
Okay, I will look that up and we'll have a conversation about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm back tomorrow. We'll have that conversation.
We'll have to hit up Wikipedia. Or, I mean, Drew might know. Drew knows like everything.
No. I'll have to look that one up.
Well, it is sort of interesting. Have you ever been in a mosh pit?
Once.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Were you the tosser, tossee, or the observer?
I was a little bit of everything. I wanted to, enjoy it once. And it just got a little bit too crazy, which allowed me to get a little bit out of hand. So I thought it would probably be better if I didn't do that again.
So do you remember what concert it was?
Oingo Boingo.
Really?
Yeah.
We're going to pause right there.
No, it was Oingo Boingo.
You openly admit you went to an Oingo Boingo concert. That's hilarious.
Actually,
I love it, man.
And frankly, it's so much fun to say Oingo Boingo.
Danny Elfman's fantastic. Okay.
He is. He is.
I mean, and if you like Danny Elfman and you like Oingo and Boingo, because they're two different setups, it was great.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about music as we.
And your love
Actually-
of Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Actually, I have a hard time calling this music. So when I got home yesterday, I said to Ken, I think I found your new theme song because, his favorite drink is Tanqueray gin and Rose's lime juice. So when I heard you all talking about Snoop Dogg's gin and juice, I thought, perfect, absolutely perfect.
I think it's a wonderful theme song for Ken.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what I did. So I went on to Pandora and I pulled down the song and I pulled down the lyrics to the song and I took it to his desk.
Oh, you shouldn't have
No,
done
no,
that.
that was the wrong thing to do. That was the wrong
And
thing
I
to do.
said, "Oh, Ken, I found your new theme song." And so it's playing. I'm standing there watching him. It's playing. I'm watching him read the lyrics, and his eyes just got way big. So I don't think it's going to be his theme song.
Was he doing it like spoken word, like William Shatner? That would have been fantastic.
It was, well, you could certainly understand the lyrics, especially when you had them in front of you to read. It's amazing that they call that music. Because one of the things I was thinking while I was listening to it is, remember back in the bandstand days how they'd say, "Oh, I'll give it a 90 because you could dance to it." But I was thinking, you can't dance to this.
No, it's more driving with a gaff.
With a what?
Being a gaffer.
Oh.
That means you're driving the car, but you're leaning in the center of it. Driving like
I
that's a
gotcha.
Chicago a gaffer.
Oh, I got you. So you're sort of
Or
elbowing the...
or a Detroit lean. You've heard that before.
This is why Drew needs a camera, because those of you who missed it, he was doing it in the booth.
Yeah, I was looking good too, huh?
He was.
And because he was doing that, I found myself going with it. That's
Hey, she
really
was
good.
leaning with me.
I could be a Detroit leaner,
You
too.
could be a Detroit lean. Yeah.
I've been there a
So,
lot.
you got to think about yourself in that kind of a car, maybe a lowrider, listening to gin and juice, bouncing. That's what it's for.
Well,
With
it's
a little
6'4"
chick.
Impala. Come on, it's
Yeah.
in the song, Drew.
I didn't want. Hey, I was trying to be car neutral. I can't
No,
be that
no,
way.
this is a GM world here.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that's pretty good. And I could just see that little bitty steering wheel, like chain link steering wheel.
Yeah.
All
With a guy driving
chromed.
it with a wife beater on. Perfect.
I think that would do great if you did that to your convertible out there.
Oh yeah, there you go. How to ruin a Mercedes in one easy
Well,
lesson.
it's already gold,
Well-
so you just got to change the wheels, drop it down, and put in a chain steering wheel, and you're golden.
Actually, that's not
Maybe
a bad
some
idea.
20s.
Because it's a gold and old. So
See?
there you go. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to tell you gin and juice,
Not gonna
not
go.
Ken's theme
Not
song.
working. All right.
But I will listen to it as a country and western tune by whomever else. Are the lyrics the same?
Yes, they're the same, but it sounds completely different when it's done by Leftover Salmon.
I will look up leftover salmon. Okay. Today
Oh, she's getting serious now.
Uh-oh.
is National Horror Movie Day, and I really thought of you, Matt, when I read this.
Yeah, well, my podcast and on the show, other than when Lisa's not here, I've been reviewing horror movies all month.
I do know that. Are you going to be reviewing one on Friday?
I don't know. Depends if Barry wants me to talk or not.
Okay.
I could talk about the past 2 or 3 that we've done. Smile 2 came out last week, and I went and saw it, and it was very good. And I don't like horror movies, and I liked that one.
Oh my gosh, I used to love horror movies. I loved them.
You and my mom. My mom loves them.
Oh my gosh,
weird.
I saw the first Halloween,
Yep, that was
the
her
original
favorite, too.
Halloween, on Halloween night, dressed up and went out and scared myself. I mean, it was terrifying.
What were
Anyway,
you dressed up as? Do you remember?
Oh, not anything terrifying. I think I was probably the one I remember the most was a bunch of grapes. So I was probably a bunch of grapes.
Well, it could be terrifying if you're allergic to them.
Well, it could be terrifying to look at me, but
I wouldn't go that far.
okay. So Psycho may be remembered for the shower scene, but it was also the first American film to show a toilet on screen. You know, things used to be really weird in our world. Think of what we've come to. I mean, remember, I Love Lucy had twin beds. Now, this was the first toilet, and I don't remember what year that was, but it was 70s. That
Oh, yeah.
Psycho.
Yeah, that would have been 70s.
Well, there's your daily do, Drew.
Oh,
Carol brought it.
I'll have to tell Leza I'm keeping up the spirit.
Yeah, they had some really weird guidelines, because, as you watch Leave It to Beaver, of course, when I went to my friend's mother's or father's house, all those women had their heels on and a string of pearls. That didn't happen.
Oh, I think it was mostly house coats.
Yeah, aprons, and, if the mother was home for that matter.
Oh,
So,
mothers were usually home
back
then.
then, yeah.
But I certainly do appreciate it's like we don't have any of those standards anymore. But, okay, so we don't see the entire shark in Jaws until an hour and 21 minutes into the movie. Did you know that?
Yep, that is very true. It's almost the end.
I don't remember that. I do remember being terrified by that big mouth coming out of that water, though. Okay. I remember this one in the theaters, too. The Blob is based on a real incident, sorta.
Sorta, yeah.
In 1952, Philadelphia police officers claimed to have seen a UFO fall from the sky. When they followed it to the landing site, the purple blob mysteriously dissolved. What did they see? Nobody knows. Wonder if those two police are still alive. We could call them and ask them. Whatever happened to that blob? Okay. The Michael Myers mask in the film Halloween, which your mother's and my favorite.
Yeah, oh yeah. She saw it in the theaters too back in the day.
Was actually a mask of William Shatner as Captain Kirk in Star Trek. Did
Yep.
you know that?
Painted white.
You knew that.
I'm a movie nerd. I got problems.
Oh.
Lots of them.
Yeah,
Well,
a whole lot.
So the movie's production designer did spray paint it white, cut the eye holes bigger, and the rest is just terrifying history.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's great because they could just keep producing more William Shatner masks and not create a new mold. I mean, talk about cost profit,
Cost savings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really pretty good. So what's your very favorite all-time horror movie?
So it's a horror comedy. It came out a while back, and we did review it on the podcast. It was back when Chris Hemsworth was not a known person at all. And between them filming it and the film actually coming out, they released Thor, and he exploded.
Oh.
But this film is called Cabin in the Woods, and it's a satire-ish in a way of all the horror tropes mashed into one with comedy mixed in and real horror in it. It's just a very insane horror film, and I love it.
Cabin
It's
in the Woods. I'll have to look
awesome.
that up.
Yeah.
Maybe we can download or stream it from Netflix or something.
Yeah, it's at least 10 years old now, I think. Maybe a little more. But yeah, I like it a lot.
Nearly a classic. 10
Oh,
years
yeah.
old, nearly a classic.
Nearly.
How about you, Drew? You have a favorite one?
I'm not a big horror fan, and I can picture the movie. Matt, you're going to have to help me. It was filmed by college students.
Oh.
Blair Witch
Blair
Project.
Witch
Oh, yeah.
Project. Yeah, that
I
was
thought
going to
that
say.
was
yeah.
pretty good.
Oh, that's good for you. That it was scary.
Okay, so Cabin in the Woods came out in 2011, and it is currently streaming, if you're subscribed to it, on Peacock.
Not subscribed to Peacock, but
Well, you can rent it. It's $4 to rent it everywhere else.
gosh. Okay. So, the only other day I can think of today, which might be very meaningful to you, and perhaps I should watch myself, it's Slap Your Annoying Coworker Day.
Perfect. Go for it. I mean, do I need to get up or are you getting up?
Well, no, I thought you were going to come over
Oh,
and
I was
slap
going to come
me.
over. No, I
Oh,
would
no,
never
no.
do that.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna get a line for you, Matt. We're just gonna
Yeah, I
all
was
line
gonna
up
say-
and let you have it.
I'll sit down. I'll get a comfy chair out in the green room, and you just go to town. Get in line.
So
Yeah, it'll be like airplane. We'll
that's good.
line them everybody up. We'll
Speaking
get
of-
Jason out here. It'd be great.
Speaking of movies, that is pretty good. So, is there an HR department here?
If there is, I'm sure they have, decided to quit by this point.
So some workplaces allow for it today, but there are rules, and here are the rules. You can only slap one coworker for an hour. Now, I was sitting here thinking, boom, 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 boom. I don't think that's what it means. It means that during their hour, for each offense, like talking too loudly or sucking up to the boss or clipping their nails at their desk, you can go slap them.
I like your other way better, slapping constantly for an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that'll do wonders for my cheekbones.
Actually, not only that, it would really get it out of your system. Okay, we are going to pause at this moment, take a break, because I am so excited. Today we are going to be joined by Larry Stefan and Brian Doherty of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Be right back. Again, it's Carol Chamberlain in for the lovely Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA. Larry Stefan, Mr. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University to me. How are you doing?
Carol, I'm fine, and it's so nice to be here with you.
Oh, well, it is so good. I tell you, to me, you really are Mr. ERAU. I know that you retired a few years back, but you were with Embry-Riddle for how many years?
40 years,
It's like you grew up there.
without a doubt. And coming to Prescott in 79, what a tremendous opportunity at a young institution. As you're probably well aware, we opened in fall of 78 with about 240 students.
Wow.
Almost all pilots, all aeronautical science majors. It was their opportunity to fly, is why they came out to Prescott. Daytona told them, we're full in our flight program, so you'd have to wait a year. You can't fly till your sophomore year. But if you want to fly your freshman year, we've opened a new campus in Prescott.
Wow.
And we took over Prescott College. They had gone bankrupt. I'm sure people know this.
Right.
In 75 and gave up the campus. It sat empty for about 3 years. Then we
Wow.
opened it in 78 with the president, Jack Hunt, came out, met with a variety of people here who were really instrumental in getting us to take over the campus and moving us out here. Prescott was very welcoming at the time. John, who am I thinking of, that owns the feed stores?
Oh my gosh, I'm blocking out too. Steve
Shishka's father-in-law.
Anyway.
Yeah, he was instrumental in working with Jack Hunt and getting it open, like I say. And then they told students, if you want to fly right away, you can come to this new campus. So it was an opening. I came in April of '79, so at the end of the very first year, and quite bluntly fell in love with the quality of the students, of the staff and faculty, and the town of Prescott.
Actually, I have heard a lot about that, but I want to back up a minute. So how did you even find out about an opening at Embry-Riddle?
That's good. After graduating college, my wife Brenda and I, we had a daughter my sophomore year, Alicia. We moved to Boulder, Colorado. I took a position as a graduate assistant at the University of Colorado. While I was there working on my master's, I became friends with a guy named Gary Upton, who was getting his PhD at the time. Brenda and I and Alicia left for Australia, and I taught high school in Australia for 2 years, 76 to 78.
Didn't know
we
that.
came back to our hometown, Piqua, Ohio, and I was there, and quite bluntly, I had kept in touch with Gary over those 2 years. You can tell we're aging ourselves. We sent cassette tapes back and forth.
That's good.
I tell people in my professional career, when Brenda and I were in Australia, we would call back to home one time a year for 5 minutes for $50. Now we FaceTime with friends in Australia for free.
Exactly. It's amazing.
So we came back to Piqua. About Christmas time that year, I got a call from Gary, and he said, I'm living in Prescott, Arizona. I think you'd like Prescott. It's similar to Boulder. He said, I'm working at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And I said, where? I had never heard of it, Carol.
Exactly.
And he said, they're going to make me the dean of students, and I get to hire my director of athletics, and I want you. And I said, I'm ready to leave Ohio again. So kind of sight unseen, Brenda and I came out to Prescott, again, fell in love with the town, the community, the school, the quality of the students and the staff and faculty. And like Jimmy Buffett said, he liked the quiet and clean country living, and 20 more years slipped away.
Oh, that's absolutely perfect. So that makes me understand now why I think it was in 1979 that the U.S. News and World Report said that, no, actually this was newer, that the number one regional college in the West is Embry-Riddle because of their 90th anniversary, I guess.
Yeah, we were founded in 1926, J. Paul Riddle and T. Higby Embry.
I just read about them. I did not realize that Embry-Riddle was two men.
They were a mail delivering service out of Cincinnati's Lunken Field.
Oh.
And then J. Paul Riddle really enjoyed teaching and training pilots. And so when it broke off to what I understand to be American Airlines, he took the educational part and started Embry-Riddle. He kept Embry's name and called it Embry-Riddle Aeronautical Institution, it originally was.
What a nice piece of history. So I was all mixed up here. It was in 1979, the year you came, that Time magazine called Embry-Riddle the Harvard of the sky.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that.
Actually, that's a really...
We like to think of Harvard as the Embry-Riddle of the ground.
I like that even better. So when you came, you said there were 200 and how many students?
About 242.
Okay, and when you left 5 years ago, how many were there?
We were just about 3,000. I think the full-time enrollment this semester is 3,300.
This semester
Correct.
Is 3,300. That is quite a leap in growth.
That's a tremendous leap in growth. But it came pretty systematically, as most people around Prescott are aware. We slowly grew to a campus of 500 and then up to a campus of 1,000, 1,200, 1,600, and you know how the numbers work.
So I do. So backing up a little bit, when you came, you said that those buildings had been lying fallow from Prescott College. So how long did it take to get those few buildings up to speed and then to sort of get to where you are now?
Well, the truth is they did that before I came. I came in April of that year, so they had been pretty much up and running. Although I understand the Friday before students arrived on Monday, there were still toilets sitting outside they had to install in some of the buildings. So it was certainly a hurried opportunity to get the campus started.
Oh, that's pretty good. And now it has developed. When you drive through Embry-Riddle, it really does look like a college campus now.
It's a beautiful campus. In fact, those of us that have been there a long time joke that it used to look like a day camp or a summer camp, and now it looks like a university. Between the planetarium, the auditorium, they're now in the process of getting ready to get started on a new student union that's going to be really nice. We house about 50% of our students on campus. So it's been a great opportunity, and as I've mentioned numerous times, the quality, the intelligence of the students, the motivation of the students, and the quality of the staff and faculty has really been a jewel for the community, and they embrace being part of the Prescott community.
A jewel is what I want to talk about when we come back right after this break. Be right back. Hello again. It's Carol Chamberlain in for Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA, in with Mr. Embry-Riddle, Larry Stefan. And I really do need to say that we are missing Brian Doherty, who's the Dean of Admissions, because his car broke down.
Brian's a fabulous man. He's the Dean of Admissions, as you mentioned. He's been there for quite a while. He was going to be on here with me this morning, and he called me just before we went on and said his car had broken down. And so I said, well, take care of what you got to take care of. And I apologize for correcting you, but it's just Larry Stefan.
Oh,
I know my son Josh and wife Brenda are listening this morning, and I'm sure they're going, well, he's not pronouncing your name
oh
right.
my gosh. Thank you so much for that. I must have been mispronouncing it all my life. Anyway, we were talking about the quality of students that there are at Embry-Riddle. And I can tell you, Ken and I have noticed that for a long time, because I think the first time we met you, Ken had Lakeview
The
Apartments,
certainly.
which was not too far away from the Embry-Riddle campus. And you said, oh, you're not going to want to talk to me because some of my kids are going to be living in your apartments. And they were a delight. So talk to us a little
They
about
are, but
that.
they're still college students.
Well, yeah.
And so they tend to have later hours than the average retiree, especially. It's funny, Carol, because I think of the early 90s when I first came here and my interactions with the community. They felt like a lot of our students were poor little rich boys coming here to fly airplanes, driving too fast on the roads. Since then, a few things have happened. One, I think the major point is a lot of our students have gotten involved in the community, be it in church projects, working part-time jobs in the community, getting to know members of the community, and the members of the community had realized, these are just motivated young people who know what they want to do and are trying to train for it. The truth is the majority of our students were on financial aid. As I mentioned before, when we first opened, 100% of our students were aeronautical science majors, which are our pilots. Now the majority are engineers, either electrical or aerospace engineers. We have more engineers than we have air pilots right now.
Wow, that is really amazing. So we talked a little bit about this being the jewel of Prescott. And I really believe it is, because you took Ken and me on a tour one time. And we're passing through some of the different labs that there are at Embry-Riddle. And you said, oh, look in there.
I think it was CubeSat we were pointing out at the time.
Those people are talking to the space station. And we both were just blown away by that. That's the quality of lab you have at Embry-Riddle?
Absolutely. When I went out to see Brian yesterday, I brought home a sticker, and it says Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Prescott, Arizona. Yes, it really is rocket science.
Oh.
And the truth is that's exactly what it is. We've got graduates of ours who are involved with NASA in high positions at NASA. Our students had the first CubeSat group had something on the last satellite that went up. It's really fabulous what they're involved with since cybersecurity has come on. It's been a tremendous boon for the university and a great opportunity for our students to get in the security field.
It truly has. Actually, there was a woman who I worked with when I was at the Arizona Community Foundation of Yavapai County who funded scholarships for some of the young ones at Embry-Riddle. And so we'd go out and lunch with these who she paid off some of their debt. And every one of them had a great job waiting for them once they graduated.
Well, I think especially with what's happened at universities in the last decade, one of the best things about Embry-Riddle is we've got like a 98% placement rate. Our students get jobs when they graduate. They get jobs within their field of study when they graduate, and they're decent paying positions. So it's really been nice to see. And, being there for 40 years, some of my best friends are alumni that were just students, had worked for me when I was here, whether they were lifeguards at the pool or worked in the fitness center or officiated intramural sports. I still play golf. It's our 28th year with 8 alumni who graduated in the early 80s. They're international captains now, but we meet once a year to play golf. And for the last 7 years, they've been coming to Prescott for our golf outing.
Oh, my gosh, that is such a wonderful thing to hear. So I'm going to stop right here, take a break, and we'll be back with Larry Stefan right after this.
Thanks, Carol.
Hello again. It's Carol Chamberlain in for Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA, talking with Larry Steffen, Mr. Embry-Riddle. So, Larry, we were talking about the quality of students and how much they love coming to Prescott. So, what are some of the areas of study that there are in Embry-Riddle? We all know about the flight program, but what else?
Certain aeronautical science are our flight students. They fly as well as take classes. They graduate with a 4-year bachelor's degree and all their flight certificates up through commercial instrument rating.
Wow.
Flight aeronautics are our students who want to be in flight but do not fly with the university. They may not fly when they graduate, or they may fly at an FBO to save money, to say bluntly, but they stay in the aeronautics field.
So I see these students flying around because I live on Antelope Hills.
And we're a pretty busy airport.
You are a very busy airport. Do you also have a flight simulator?
We do. We have numerous flight simulators, including motion flight simulators. They got state-of-the-art Fresca flight simulators.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Fresca is just the company that builds
Okay.
them, and there's a 360-degree screen that you're looking at, and you can fly into any airport in the country. It's accurate as far as altitudes and locations. All that is really pretty incredible.
Are these jet simulators as well as just regular?
I think we've got one jet simulator. All the rest are normal small aircraft simulators.
So these pilots, once they graduate from the pilot part of it, what kind of jobs do they get?
They'll usually graduate with maybe 300 to 400 hours. They need to get to 1,000 hours to get their ATP, which is their airline transport pilot's license.
Okay.
That's 1,500 if you're not graduating from an accredited university. So that's one of the advantages they do have graduating from our institution. So they'll look to do whatever they can to build their hours from 300 to 1,000, preferably with somebody else paying for the flight hours.
Absolutely.
So the flight instructor is a good way to do it. We keep a lot of our pilots on as flight instructors. If they get a job for air med services, different things like that, and then they can get into local regional jets and build their hours to get ready to try to get into the majors. The majority of the commercial pilots want to go to the majors, and as you're probably well aware, we've got the second largest ROTC contingency, Air Force ROTC contingency in the nation, behind the Air Force Academy. So we send an awful lot of pilots to the Air Force.
Oh, I see. Okay, so now that's the flight part of it. What else does Embry-Riddle offer?
As we mentioned earlier, cybersecurity has been extremely popular lately with everything that's going on. Robotics and drone flying has grown tremendously. Aviation business administration, for people that like the business aspect of aviation, will typically work as airport managers, can go to work in a variety of aviation-supported businesses. It's business training with an aviation emphasis.
Oh, wow. So it just goes to show that there really are jobs available once these kids graduate.
A tremendous amount. And our forensic people, again, getting involved with computers and hacking and things like that. We've got a hackers lab on campus where they learn how people try to hack into different systems and what they can do to thwart that.
Oh, my God. That
It's
would be
amazing
wonderful.
to see.
That would absolutely be wonderful because that's an imminent threat to us all. So any business other than airport business?
Well, it's aviation business. It's a regular business administration degree.
Okay.
So there are quite a few students who don't go into aviation at all but use their business degree to get into whatever business it may be, or go to get a CPA, something along that lines.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so I think you mentioned engineering.
Aerospace engineering is certainly our number one engineering program, but we also have electrical engineering. So there's a variety of engineering opportunities at the university. And I know they just opened a new wind tunnel named after Tracy and Nancy Dorland, who was one of our first engineering professors, a great couple. And they've got a new wind tunnel on campus so that they can work with aircraft and work with designs in a wind tunnel and see how they react.
How big is this wind tunnel?
Oh, I'm guessing, but the wind tunnel itself, the building, is probably 40 feet by 70 feet. And I think the ultrasonic wind tunnel is only a few inches long.
Oh, my. It's just amazing stuff. So anything else that Embry-Riddle is known for or not known for in terms of their programs?
Well, I think the big thing that I found at Embry-Riddle and you got accustomed to in the 40 years there are students who come to college knowing what they want to do and are motivated to do it. I, like a lot of people, went to a liberal arts university, got a liberal arts degree, wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but knew I wanted to be a college graduate. Our students aren't that way. They're very destined as to what they want to do. They know what they want to do, and this is their means to an ends to try to achieve that dream.
I tell you, I'm just so impressed with Embry-Riddle and all it offers. And they have a number of labs there that I think are incredibly interesting. First of all, we talked about the oh my gosh, I'm just
The robotics lab.
The
I think.
robotics lab. I want to hear what you can tell us about I think it's called the robotics lab. Tell us about what they do in that robotics lab.
Well, I'm not sure, Carol.
That's pretty good. Okay.
I know they work with drones. They work a lot with robotics. For me, when I was still there, the engineering lab was quite impressive to me. They had one machine that would reduce friction to zero so that they could test what it would be like out in space where you have zero friction. They had another machine that would shake whatever things that they were creating and putting in it so it would emulate a rocket taking off to see how that might affect the components of a program they were working on.
Oh, wow. It's just
They
incredible.
do stress test with airplane wings. They've got a tunnel where you go down, not a tunnel, but a pit where you go underneath it. You can apply pressure to a wing and see exactly when a wing's going to fatigue, and so that they can correct those. It's pretty amazing to see what the engineers have been working on.
Wow. I tell you, they also have a lab called the Cavendish Lab. I'm not sure who the Cavendishes were.
I'm not sure of that either. Again, I retired in 19, so
Oh,
they've certainly kept improving since I've left.
they certainly have. Well, it's research that could ultimately be used to revolutionize deep space travel. I mean, when you think about something like that going on in our Prescott, Arizona, I think when I call it a jewel, I really do feel that way. There's another one called the LIGO, don't know what that stands for, Optics Lab. They're searching for key indicators in the identification and study of black holes.
Yeah, I know the LIGO was being worked on out there. The truth of the matter is they are working on cutting-edge technology, and the students that graduate from there are alumni, whether they go to graduate school or go to NASA or something along that lines. They are working with cutting-edge technology in space, as well as safety for airline pilots and airlines today.
And they have an energy and thermofluids lab where they're developing energy harvesting devices. I mean, some of these things that are being studied here are going to affect our lives in decades to come.
Without a doubt. One of my positions as Dean of Students was to organize graduation, and Sally Jackson and I transitioned our graduation out to the event center so that we could have it inside and work out well. But when I would address the students, I'd talk to them about they are at the forefront of the technological advances that we are seeing down the road. And it's just amazing to see.
Sort of takes your breath away. There is a forensic lab named for the Kiekefer Foundation, and Margaret T. Morris, which I'm certainly familiar with through my community work, a wildlife science lab for the management of wildlife issues in urban, rural, and airport settings. I mean, just a lot of stuff
Well, as
going on.
everybody knows, bird strikes are a critical component, and they work with it, how they can do things with still caring about the environment, and yet keep airlines safe.
Fabulous. We're going to be right back after these messages. And it's Carol Chamberlain in for Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA, talking with Larry Steffen. Used to be with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, but was with them long enough to know from whence they came.
And I'll always be with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, really. After 40 years, it's like home.
I think that's on your T-shirt and on your cap.
I've got golf after this.
That's an interesting thing to hear about. So I would like to talk about what the plans for the future are. You were talking about how big the campus is now. Do you have room to grow?
We do. We've got over 500 acres here, and so the opportunity for growth is tremendous. As I mentioned before, they're in the process of building a new student union. We are also building new residence halls so we can house more students. In talking to Brian Daughtery yesterday and kind of preparing for today, one of the things that he mentioned was there's conversation that they may get up to 6,000 students.
Oh my gosh,
which
that's
would almost
double.
be double where we're at.
Wow.
So I think there's some great opportunities for that. One of the things we talked about at the break, Carol, I thought was funny was the transition that our students make. It seems like when they come as freshmen, they feel like they're stuck here in Prescott, Arizona, 100 miles from a metropolitan area with nothing to do. We talk to them about what they can see within 8 hours of driving time from Prescott, from the Grand Canyon to Mexico to all the opportunities. Their junior, senior year, they start to get out and about, hike Thumb Butte, do some things at Granite Mountain, get to meet some local community members. By their senior year, they think, how can I find a way to stay in Prescott?
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. And speaking of it, I remember when Frank Ayers was here, who was a dear friend, I think, of our community.
He was a dear friend of Embry-Riddle, the Prescott community, all our students and staff.
Delightful man who was working very hard with the city of Prescott to try to find opportunities to bring companies into Prescott so that these graduates could stay because they've now fallen in love with it.
Any kind of high-tech industry, especially high-tech aviation-oriented industries or space technology-oriented industries, would be a tremendous boon to help keep some of our students after they graduate.
So do you think those efforts are still continuing today?
They may not be quite on the front burner like they were. Frank was here for 10 years as chancellor, and that took a little while to work in. We've got a new chancellor now. I've heard great things about Ken, our new chancellor.
Ken.
I can't remember his last name. I apologize. But he's come on board and done a tremendous job so far. As they talk about growth, I believe he'll continue to work with the city in looking how they can bring high-tech industries into the area.
I think that's a really, really important consideration because there's so many great things going on, and Prescott needs some places where there are some high-end companies.
And clean technology would be a great thing to bring to the area.
It would absolutely be fabulous. So are there other things that you can think of we haven't covered about Embry-Riddle, the jewel of Prescott, Arizona?
Well, certainly our athletic program has grown. When I came, we strictly had intramural sports. Now we've got, I think, 14 intercollegiate sports. And again, the students we're recruiting, they perform at a higher academic level than our average student. And our average student is way above average.
Why do you think that is?
I think, again, they're very motivated. When the coaches go out to try to recruit students, they talk to them about what degree programs we have. And we don't bring in a whole lot of student athletes who don't know what they want to do. They want to be an aerospace engineer, or they want to be a pilot, and they know Embry-Riddle is going to afford them the best opportunity to do that, and their sport can help them offset the cost of tuition.
Oh, that is really a great thing to consider. And, I mean, the golf team has gone very far. We certainly do know about that.
What Kim and Mike Haddow have done with the golf team has been tremendous.
She's a wonderful, wonderful coach. She tried to teach me golf or better golf. You know how that goes. So one of the things I read in preparing for today is that you were very excited to be able to take a vacation in the fall because during your 40 years you could never do that. So have you gone someplace in the
We
fall?
have. Last year, we took a road trip. We went over to California, stayed 2 days with an alumni, then went up to Portland where my daughter lives, drove across the Northwest, did the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, down through Michigan, visited my brother in Saginaw, then went to St. Lawrence Seaway. A friend of mine has an island there. We stayed there, down through Pennsylvania and Falling Waters, and then into Piqua, our hometown, and back. And that was all in fall.
I tell you what, that is absolutely wonderful. So one of your dreams came true. Thank you so much, Larry, for having been with us. So glad to talk to you fellas out in our listening audience. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Carol.